So my name is Grant Miller, and I'm the Staff Sergeant of the Calgary Police Service Homicide Unit. I have the following release for you today. The Calgary Police Service continues to investigate an incident in Huntington Hills where one man died and another was seriously injured. On Friday, May 24th, 2013, at approximately 4:30 p.m., police were called to a home in the 100 block of Hunterhorn Drive Northeast. A resident called after an injured man approached their home, claiming to have escaped after having been held captive. Upon arrival, officers located the injured man. He was taken to hospital by EMS, and he has since been released. A subsequent search of the neighborhood led to the discovery of another man in a vehicle. He was pronounced dead at the scene. Several people were taken from the scene for questioning. All have been released without charges. Investigators have been able to determine an altercation occurred at a nearby residence in the 0 to 100 block of Hunterhorn Crescent Northeast. The cause of that altercation remains under investigation. We believe there were several other people related to that home, and we are attempting to locate those individuals. An autopsy identified the deceased as Yosef Jeha, 19 years of age, of Calgary, and determined the manner of death to be homicide. He died as a result of a stabbing. We do not believe that this was a random incident, and anyone with information in relation to this is urged to contact us as soon as they can. And I'll take your questions.
Are there any charges pending or being contemplated, or have they been ruled out?
Charges have not been ruled out. Again, right now our investigation is focusing on the other residents of that residence, or the other occupants of that residence.
So is it your understanding that all the people in that residence were being held hostage or captive?
So again, in this situation, the gentleman who was seeking assistance claimed that he was being held captive. That point itself is still under investigation. The investigation of that led us to this residence. It's not clear to us at this time who actually lives there. We are attempting to locate whoever actually resided at that house and speak with them and what they would know about this incident.
How many people do you think were living in that home?
More than one, but again, it's hard to tell at this point. It seems to us that that house is involved in criminal activity, and we can't tell, or we haven't made the determination yet, if the criminal activity that was going on inside the residence is linked to the incident that happened the other afternoon.
The person you have in custody, is he a suspect?
At this point, we don't have anyone in custody.
Or the person that was treated in hospital on release?
I think at this time, there's still too many people and too many pieces that we don't have yet. And we know who that person is. As I said, he has been treated and he has since been released. But we are very aware of the fact that there are several other people related to that residence that we need to locate.
What was he treated for specifically?
I can't really get into his injuries. He was injured serious enough to be held at hospital for approximately 2 days.
There were reports of gunshots. Were there in fact any guns, or which weapons were seized at the scene?
We are aware that guns were fired in this incident. We located a bullet in a vehicle traveling by the residence that was not related to this incident.
And was the gentleman who went looking for help, can you just describe a little bit, did he actually go knock on the door? Was he visibly injured? Was he armed?
I believe he was visibly injured, seeking assistance and asking people to call 911.
Was he armed?
At this time, I'm not sure of the particulars of that.
The man treated and the victim, did they know each other?
Again, that's part of our investigation. We're not sure who exactly knew who in this. And as we're still trying to determine who actually lived in the house, it may be some time before we can clearly identify what their relationships were.
Any idea how they all ended up in that house?
No, not yet. We're hoping to get to those answers.
Where did you find the vehicle where there was a bullet?
A passerby contacted us that he had been in the area at the time of the incident. We went to his location where we discovered a bullet hole in his vehicle.
People in the area said that the injured man claims that whatever he did was
I'm sorry, I missed the beginning of your question. Could you
Is
just
it
repeat that?
possible that the fellow who was injured is a suspect in Mr. J.'s death?
I think it's too early to speculate exactly what role anybody played here, especially since we know there are people that we're having very difficult time locating and speaking to. Once we have a chance to speak to everyone related to that house, I think it'll be a lot clearer as to what role everyone played and what potential charges we're going to be in a position to pursue and against who.
Have you already discussed any possible charges with the Crown? Have you been in discussions with the Crown yet?
Not to this point.
So the house where police were called to, the 100 block of Hunterhorn Drive, that's where the injured man was found and went to for help and was found?
That's correct.
And then later on, police determined that an altercation took place not too far away, 0 to 100 block of Hunterhorn Crescent?
That's correct. And we were present at that location for a few days and have only cleared away from that, I think, yesterday.
And the injured man was injured at that house?
Again, these are all things we're trying to determine. We think it was in the house that from the 0 to 100 block.
So what assistance, if any, what can the public do to assist you with your investigation?
I think the goings on at this address are of particular interest to us in this investigation. We believe that there were people living there. There were definitely people coming and going from this address. We're trying to determine who actually was residing there. And from that, I think we'll have a much better understanding of what actually happened and who actually did what.
So prior to this incident, was this house at all on the police radar?
And I'm not the best person to answer that question. We can get that information for you, but I'd have to defer to that right now.
Is there any indication that Mr. J. was also held captive?
Again, it's hard to tell right now as to who played what role in this.
And has it been ruled out that this is all drug related?
At this point, nothing's been ruled out.
Do you believe Mr. J. was stabbed in the vehicle?
At this point, there's just too many people that we haven't been able to locate to speak to see exactly what happened.
How many people have you spoken to other than the man who was injured?
I would say over 24.
And how many more do you think that you haven't spoken to?
Well, I think that list begins with the people who are residing at that address.
And they've just sort of vanished and not come back? Or what are the challenges?
I think vanished and not come back. They're obviously fully aware, as the rest of the city of Calgary is, that an incident took place there. And we've made it very well known that we want to speak to those individuals. And to this point in time, they have not made themselves available to us or contacted us in any way.
And were police, did you have the opportunity to search that house? Is that something you can do or?
We were there. We did a forensic crime scene search of that residence for approximately 2 days. So we are aware of what was inside the residence.
Or was it quite a fruitful search?
It's part of, again, it forms part of the ongoing investigation, and again, we want the residents to come forward and contact us.
And is it a rental house too?
I believe it is.
And what would be the best way to contact you, for them to contact you?
They can contact Crime Stoppers. They can contact the non-emergency police number. They can contact the homicide tip line. Any one of those, and we'd be happy to speak to them.
Did you recover any weapons?
We did, and I'm not going to get into the weapons that we recovered at this time because it is part of the larger investigation, and we just not sure what role they play yet.
Can you say where you recovered?
There were some in the neighborhood. There were some in the house.
Anything else, guys?
I've kind of already asked this question, but I'll throw it out there again. You can't confirm whether the injured man was armed or not. We understood he was armed, so I just wanted to see if I should be repeating that or not.
And I'm not going to contradict that. I just don't have that information with me at this moment.
Thanks.
Okay.